Good morning, New Zealand. It is Friday morning. It's the 12th of September. Welcome to Daybreak. Yep, Friday, heading into the weekend, so that's always a good day. Although, do you remember where you were 21 years ago today? 21 years ago this morning, we were waking to the news that America was under attack. 911. In fact, I actually had some original footage of that. Here we go. This was the very first sign, and this was a footage that was just someone was just filming, heard a plane go over, and saw this happen. And that was a start. That was the start of 911. Of course, it wasn't just that plane, there was a number of planes. And it's one of those events where you probably know where you were when you heard the news about 911. And I was asleep, to be honest. My father-in-law came bursting in the house and told my wife that America was under attack. I had been up late the night before, actually doing the Reamathon, and the Reamathon went right through to midnight. So we were raising funds for Reema. I came home, was slightly sleeping in, and was woken by America is under attack. Got up, looked at these images, and just thought, wow, that is incredible. So it was one of those moments where you just remembered where you were when you heard the news. A little bit like the death of Princess Diana as well. And I think we'll all remember where we were and how we heard about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Not the death, as some media like to put it, but the assassination, the cold-hearted murder of Charlie Kirk, when he was simply speaking to a group of students and sharing his viewpoint and debating with them. Here's his beautiful family. It's a bit of a tribute this morning to Charlie Kirk. Also, this was a tweet that he did recently: get married, have kids, and stop partying into oblivion. Leave a legacy, be courageous. Happy Sunday. God bless all the parents out there. And he was obviously very much a doting dad. This was a video that was doing the rounds. This is his daughter, rushing to daddy while he's on set doing filming. So the latest developments from this morning is that they've identified who they think is the shooter. So this is the world's most wanted man at the moment. It's a human man. It's a person of interest. Looks like a man, but maybe you never know. And interestingly, so this morning I read through all the New Zealand media, and it wasn't until I read the Australian newspapers, and the Australian in particular, that I saw that the FBI has released photos, and the ammo had pro-trans, anti-fascist messages on it, which sort of suggests a bit of a motive, which people may not be surprised at, although CNN, Simon O'Connor just sent this to me just before I came on air, so I quickly grabbed it. The FBI releases photos of person of interest, a rifle and ammo scrawled with phrases has been found, but it's not yet clear if it points to a motive. But the Australian, which is far more balanced, and that's why I read it, is quite clear about what the messages were on the ammunition. So, as I say, if by chance you know this person, they're the most wanted person in the world at the moment, and need to be brought to justice. And I'd say their time in freedom is going to be very short, hopefully. So, look, just a couple of other things. I just want to show you some video clips of him speaking, because for a lot of people, they've heard of Charlie Kirk, but they've never necessarily seen him in action. This was actually a tweet that he put out the day before he died, and it was related to this case that Simon was talking about the Ukrainian refugee that was basically butchered, killed on a subway train. And the media basically didn't want to talk about it because the attacker wasn't white, and the victim wasn't black, and it didn't involve guns, it involved a knife. And so the narrative just didn't go with what the media wanted to talk about. And so the media got more upset when people started to notice that it had taken place. And all the people with the Ukrainian, flags in their bios, for some reason, were very silent on this particular case. But Charlie Kirk was calling it out and expressing concerns about it. That was one of his most recent tweets. I was interested to see that European Parliament tried to hold a moment's silence for Charlie Kirk, but half the politicians refused to take part. I mean, shouldn't we? I would take a moment's silence for even someone I politically disagreed with vehemently. I would still stop and pause and reflect on their life and give my respect. But no, these politicians can't. In fact, I think they called for a minute's silence in Parliament, our Parliament as well, but it was overruled. I need to get a bit more detail on that. This was probably one of the worst articles I saw, and this is, by the way, paid for you as a taxpayer on Radio New Zealand. And they said that this is Radio New Zealand website, conservatives will be seething and blaming liberals while Democrats largely keep to a more reserved tone. Yeah, okay, so maybe they got that from CNN. The interesting thing, I also saw that actually left-wing media were actually praising Charlie Kirk, his legacy, and saying that actually they may have disagreed with him. The New York Times said that they disagreed with his politics, but they liked the way he did it. Washington Times as well. Washington Post. So New York Times, Washington Post, both radical lefty newspapers, but they paid respect to him because they said he was showing up. They may disagree with him, but he was showing up and doing it the right way. And I thought that's an incredible legacy when even your enemies agree that you've constructively contributed to the debate, which was always his plan. And so I did just want to show you a couple of clips of him in action. The first one is where he talks about why he does it and the importance of debating, because when our voices go silent, then comes the violence.
I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
I've never seen someone do this.
Well, it's a growing trend because people like me are facing violence, assaults, the left. Yes, the campus Antifa. I've been stormed out of restaurants. I've been assaulted publicly, multiple death threats.
Okay, so what's your goal in all this?
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we put it on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
Yep, so true. He was also asked, is he a Christian?
Very, very much so.
Like, why is that exactly?
Jesus saved my life. I'm a sinner, gave my life to Christ, most important decision I ever made.
So you believe the Bible is real?
Yes, I believe the Bible is true and real. Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I could give you the technical answer. There's never been an archaeological discovery that has contradicted the truth of the Bible. And then, of course, the wisdom. There is not a truth of the Bible that if you apply to your life does not improve dramatically. And then finally, we have the most accurate and transparent, historically robust account that one can have of the most important figure ever to live in the history of the world, Jesus of Nazareth. And the resurrection is the pinpoint of my belief that Jesus did rise from the grave so that we may live.
What makes Christian mythology real?
So that's not mythology, but that is theology. If Genesis 1:1 and the resurrection is true, anything in the Bible is possible. You're looking at the greatest miracle. The greatest miracle is creation. And then the fact that Jesus rose from the dead. And I say, how do you know that Jesus rose from the dead? Well, show me another historical piece of a story where so many people willingly died a brutal death for a lie. Every single person around him had everything to lose, and yet they went to the absolute death, from Paul to Peter to the half-brother of James, saying that Jesus is Lord, Jesus rose from the dead. Not to mention, if you were going to fake a story, you would not use female witnesses in the ancient world. In the scriptures, it said that the women were the first one to see Jesus Christ. If you're trying to fake a story, you would never do that.
Yeah, very good explanation. And one other, actually, I grabbed this from the Australian newspaper once again. If you're not subscribed to The Australian, I recommend you do, because it actually has balanced articles. I don't think you'll see this clip in the New Zealand media. I'll put it out on my socials so that people can share it. But this was sort of coverage of Charlie Kirk as well. This is from a mainstream newspaper, but in Australia that's more open-minded than our New Zealand media.
So I do not have hate for a group. I do not have hate for a people. I have
So
hate
just
for...
so I can get it on my camera. So Instagram,
Don't worry, we
hi.
got plenty of cameras, but yeah.
But yes, so you do not hate the LGBT community,
No,
and Turning Point is not against LGBT.
No, how could I hate that which I have a heart for?
Thank you.
And I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. But if you ask me, what do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not. The question is macro Islam compatible with Western values? Macro. Of course it's not. There are three major reasons why. Islam does not believe in freedom of speech. Islam does not believe in freedom of religion. And Islam does not believe in separation of mosque and state. Those three things are antithetical to the West.
So why do you care so much about other individuals living their lives? What is affecting you? Do you have something up your ass or something?
Well, I could throw that right back at you. Why do you care so much about what I have to say?
Because you're affecting other people's rights. You're taking away people's choices. You are hurting people.
So again, you say I'm here to take rights away.
Yes.
Do you agree life is a right?
I feel like if it's a clump of cells, then it's not alive.
No, but let's go back. Do you think every human being has a right to life?
Depending on how many weeks, but let's
Hold on. Who's trying to take rights away? I want to protect the rights of all human beings. You call them a clump of cells.
I was born as a man, and now I'm a woman.
Okay, no, but you don't become a woman just because you dress like a woman. So let me ask you a question. If I wear a disguise or a costume, do I become that thing? For example, if I dress with a sombrero and start talking with a Mexican accent, do I then become that culture?
No, because that's different race.
Okay,
That's
but then wait,
very different.
why? How is it different? Because you're saying that if you dress a certain way and you present a certain way, you can be as you think you are. Why can't I also just choose what culture I am?
Because you're born within a culture, you're born with.
But you were born as a man.
I mean, it's a great little summary. I mean, credit to the Australian for actually putting that on their website. And like I say, you won't see it on New Zealand media. What you will see on New Zealand media, unfortunately, and I actually posted this yesterday and called out TVNZ and Breakfast for this shocking display that they did a couple of years ago. And the media will be the first to talk about rhetoric, violent rhetoric, but they need to look at their own.
This is great. Okay, Donald Trump's here. So let's say Donald Trump.
It doesn't hurt.
Put him down there.
Or
Does it have like a laser?
I'm not sure it's actually that far.
I feel like there needs to be a laser on this thing. Or do you,
Well,
okay.
this is.
Oh! Hey! That was huge. I can't believe it. We gotta get rid of these guys. They're coming into our country.
Hang on.
Sorry.
Okay,
So
one more shot, and then
fun this
safety
could potentially be.
and then we're putting the bugger salt away.
This is fun. But I shouldn't have.
There you go.
Who thought
Shouldn't
you'd
have
be the
chemical
dad?
sprayed my house. To use
There's
this.
a lot. It's quite salty already.
This
Yeah.
is our
Riveting
state
television.
broadcaster.
Good. Oh, yeah, I can't do the pump action.
Well, you got it.
Go.
You have a go. But it'd be quite good for dinner parties, wouldn't it? I need a bit of salt on that. Bang. Yeah.
Yeah. See, look. Here you go.
Plenty of salt there, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably the biggest thing, right? Is the cleanup afterwards.
The salt everywhere.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
But it does
Good
the
fun.
trick.
Hilarious.
If you
not looking at-
work on your target practice, obviously. So
Yeah.
get a little doll, a little Donald Trump doll,
Yeah.
and go hard. Just don't.
Yeah. I'm lost for words. Stupidsville probably is the only word I can think of. Anyway, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. I think there will be a lot of tributes. Coming through here. So you probably noticed me looking off to the side. My main computer's getting fixed at the moment. Thank you, Gordon. And so I'm just working off my comments here, which heaps coming through. A lot of you watching today. But I do just want to cover a couple of other things. Firstly, I want to give you a little teaser.
Like, what is this post? I jump online, I look at it, and I'm like, what's wrong with that? That's a biblical message. No one was coming out and saying anything about same-sex marriage and stuff. You were the first one. So for me, I was like, buckle up, we're in for a ride.
Israel, what do you say to people who would say it may be biblical, but it's too confrontational, it's not loving?
Well, I would say that.
Oh, there we go. That was a teaser, wasn't it? Monday. It's landing Monday morning. You can see the full interview with Israel and Maria Folau. You'll hear the side that maybe the media never let you hear. Just very quickly, just a couple of other quick stories that I saw. I've always said in this game that you're just one statement away from destroying your credibility and basically, losing your ability to speak into situations. You just need to have one brain explosion and it can really harm you. And I saw a classic example in the last couple of days. And it was this one. Stuart Nash was, the pin-up boy for New Zealand First. He was going to go. He was a Labour cabinet minister. He was going to go to New Zealand First. He did a speech at the New Zealand First Party conference, and everybody thought, wow, this is amazing. Winnie is attracting new talent. And then next minute, he has a brain explosion. He goes on the platform, which I noticed, and I was yelling at the TV last night a lot because 3 News were referring to the platform as hard right. Hard right. I need to ask Sean Plunkett about that. The hard. We've gone from just the right and we've gone from the far right, and it's now the hard right. And you saw a lot of that commentary yesterday in the media as well. But Stuart Nash went onto the platform and he had a brain explosion. And he was asked, what is a woman? And rather than just saying adult human female, which already winds up the media, he used explicit body parts. And it was unnecessarily, it was grubby, and it just reminded me, you just need one brain explosion to really harm your credibility, and it didn't go down well. Just a couple of other news items. I saw that the government has unveiled a fetal alcohol syndrome action plan because apparently it causes damage in the womb, and there's more funding to support babies and children caused by being exposed to alcohol before birth. Yes, apparently they're admitting that the child is a child in the womb and should be protected from the harms of alcohol, but not from abortion, which is, of course, as we know, far more deadly. I was also interested that David Seymour is looking at the warning labels on nicotine and tobacco and alcohol and sort of wanting to play them down a little bit, change the colouring so that they're not so obvious, because apparently the printing costs are too much for the vice companies, which seems, kind of weird, although he did make an admission that actually the label changes were important for pregnant mums, for the unborn child. So I thought that was interesting. And the other vice is the casino bill, which means there's going to be online gambling and there's going to be a lot more ads coming on. So this government seems to be working really hard in the vice area. Gambling, alcohol, and tobacco. It's very interesting to watch. So yeah, we will monitor those particular issues. Fortunately, they're staying clear of the drugs issue and holding the line. But hey, if we get a Labour Greens to Party Māori government next, cannabis referendum. Well, it won't be a cannabis referendum. It'll just be a law change. I can almost guarantee that if they have a majority in Parliament. Now, let's just check out some of the comments. So I just have to figure out how to do that. Where's my list? Oh, here we are. Marita, there we are. Marita's in the United States. We will in the US on 9/11. The Newsweek and other media showed images and footage how the Palestinians were celebrating 9/11. Actually, I do remember that. And now let me just go to my list. I put a whole lot aside. Okay, here we go. Dennis says it's vital that our voices are continued to be heard. New Zealand media is immature. Jesse says breakfast show, absolute Yeah, that word. William says it's important that Christians honor Charlie by showing God's love and light even in testing times. Correct. Trish says his wife Erica called Charlie a force. So accurate. Evan now has another awesome member. Our loss. Amanda says he will get the death penalty according to Fox News. Yeah, I think I heard that Donald Trump had signed an executive order related to that, but that's just what I heard. Dee Dee says Sky Australia is also very good, as well as the Australian. I think that's true. I've always thought we should have a New Zealand version of Sky News, focusing on New Zealand-based news. Maybe I might have a talk to Peter Williams about that, eh? Get some decent quality back on TV. Minty says the great divide between good and evil in this world is becoming more obvious in the world. The sheep and the goats. Oh, by the way, you may be wondering about my shirt. I got this at the SoConCon, the Social Conservatives Conference in Indianapolis. What was it? Last month, July, 2 months ago. And it was Family Research Council, another hate group, according to the left. For just quoting scripture. Foo Dogs Trucking says, I hope Douglas Murray has good security. Well, I think security will be an issue for most speakers, especially in the United States. Darren says, Charlie Kirk was never nasty and he talked fairly. Trish says, disgusting Radio New Zealand Post. Sue says, yes, Labour and Greens opposed a move from acting Prime Minister David Seymour in New Zealand Parliament yesterday around the Charlie Kirk issue, and Mike backs that up as well. And Catherine says, where's the outrage for the Ukrainian refugee, the 23-year-old? Well, as I say, it didn't fit the narrative, so the media just buried it and then got upset that people were talking about it. All right. I think that's it. We are running out of time. Can I give you one more teaser? One more teaser for Monday.
And just Rugby Australia sending the wrong contract that didn't have the special social media clause.
Oh, hang on, I'll do that again because I totally left that out.
Even just
Here we
Rugby
go.
Australia sending the wrong contract that didn't have the special social media clause. And that was such a key point in that whole ordeal, was that these were the type of people we were dealing with. Rugby Australia was that, one, you told Raylene multiple times that you weren't going to compromise. Two, they sent the wrong contract, which you signed the first contract and then they rung again saying...
Yeah, so there we go. That is Monday morning. That interview is landing. So watch out for that. Anyway, we're well out of time. Thanks for watching. I tell you, it has just been taking off. There's lots of people watched last night as well for political playback. So these we're obviously scratching the itch in terms of just having the discussions you want to have. So keep watching, keep sharing, and don't forget that Simon. I'll be here Monday morning, and then Simon on Tuesday. Here's the lineup. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Oh, look, I need to stop while I'm ahead. I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. It's Friday. We're heading into the weekend. But anyway, have a great weekend. We'll be back Monday morning, and thanks for watching.